wanted to read a story to you. No, everybody down here. I'm going to be a meanie, like your mom. Here's what I want to say. I want to read you a story, and it's got a crazy little title to it. It's called Earthquack. Little Chucky Ducky had just finished swimming his morning laps, and he dried off his bill, and he wiped his 2 webbed feet, and he was letting the water roll off his back when suddenly he heard the ground rumble, and he felt the ground grumble, and then with a stumble, Chucky Ducky went down in a tumble. Oh, God, quacked the duck as he got up and with his unruffled feathers. The earth is crumbling, the earth is crumbling. Why, it's a quake, he quacked. I have to go warn my friends. Without a minute to waste, Chucky Ducky waddled and flapped and waddled across the meadow where he saw Lucy Goosey. The earth is crumbling, the earth is crumbling, it's a quake, quacked the duck. The goose gave a gander. Are you sure? Asked Lucy, not at all convinced. Of course I'm sure, answered Chucky Ducky. I heard what I heard, I felt what I felt, and I saw what I saw, and I saw it. And then suddenly, right below their 4 webbed feet, they heard the ground grumble, and then they felt the ground rumble. And before they knew it, Chucky Ducky and Lucy Goosey were taking a tumble. The earth is crumbling, the earth is crumbling, honked the goose. I tell you it's a quake, quacked the duck. We have to go warn our friends. Without a minute to waste, Chucky Ducky and Lucy Goosey waddled and flapped and waddled up to the barnyard, and who should they meet? Scratching and hatching, but Vicky, Nicky, and Ricky Chicky. The earth is crumbling, the earth is crumbling, it's a quake, quacked the duck. Is this some kind of a trick? Cheat the chick? I heard what I heard, I felt what I felt, I saw what I saw, and I saw it. Me too, said Lucy Goosey. And then, suddenly, right below their feet, they heard the ground grumble. And they heard the ground rumble. And before they knew it, they were all taking a tumble. The earth is crumbling, cheep the chicks. The earth is crumbling, honked the goose. The earth is crumbling, quacked the duck. We have to go warn our friends, and without a minute to waste, Chucky Ducky, Lucy Goosey, Vicky, Nicky, Ricky, Chicky flapped and waddled and flapped in a troop up to the coop where they saw Brewster Rooster. The earth is crumbling, the earth is crumbling, it's a quake, quacked the duck. Sound the alarm, honked the goose. Excuse me, but I only cock-a-doodle once a day, said the rooster calmly, raking his comb through his feather. Read my job description. But you just got a crow, said the 3 little chicks. Yes, yes, said Chucky Ducky. I heard what I heard, and I felt what I felt, and I saw what I saw, and I saw it. Me too, shouted Lucy Goosey. We 3, cheeped Vicky, Nicky, and Ricky Chicky. And then suddenly, right below their 4 webbed feet, 6 little chicken wings, and 2 big drumsticks, they heard the ground grumble. And then they felt the ground rumble, and before they knew it, they were all taking a tumble. The earth is crumbling, squawked the rooster. The earth is crumbling, cheeped the chicks. The earth is crumbling, honked the goose. I tell you it's a quake, quacked the duck. We have to go warn our friends, and without a minute to waste, Rooster, Rooster, let out a crow. Cock-a-doodle-doo! So what's new? Asked Sue. You? Hoofing it on over to Rooster Rooster with her lamb salmon pan. Yes, what's the big to-do? Grumbled Danny Goat. Not pleased at all the hubbub had wakened her Billy the Kid from his afternoon nap. Yeah, you're interrupting my lunch, snorted Iggy Piggy, whipping his snout in a pout. The earth is crumbling, the earth is crumbling. I tell you it's a quake, quacked the duck. Oh, it can't be that bad, said Sam and Pam and Sue. It sounds nutty to me, said Merle Squirrel, going out on a limb. But I heard what I heard, and I felt what I felt, and I saw what I saw, and I saw it. Hogwash, grunted the pig. And then suddenly, they all heard a grumble, and they all felt a rumble. And then, one by one, they all went down in a tumble. Run for the hills, screamed Iggy Piggy. Take it to the trees, squealed Merle Squirrel. The doorway, you ninnies, shouted little Billy. So they listened to the kid and ran to the door of the big red barn and huddled and cuddled and hoped they were safe from any more rumbling, grumbling, and most of all, crumbling. Now, several yards away, under a sticky thicket, watching all the commotion, was one very hungry weasel. He muttered greedily, licking his lips. Yeah, it is. You're right. Very observant. Ooh, lamb chops and roast goose and chicken and squirrel stew. Yum, yum. The wormy weasel grinned. My pantry's pretty paltry, but I have an idea that will get their goat and give me one big banquet buffet. So, without a minute to waste, the sneaky weasel climbed out from the sticky thicket and made out the menu for the month, and then he cleverly disguised himself in his long winter white coat. The earth is crumbling, the earth is crumbling, he shouted, running towards the barn. You know about the quake? Said the duck from the doorway. I heard what I heard. I felt what I felt. I saw what I saw, and I saw it, lied the weasel. Rooster pointed a wing and cocked his head with suspicion. I've never seen you around here before. Who exactly are you, anyway? My name is Herman Erner, the weasel said with a sly smile. As it happens, I'm an expert in rumbles and crumbles. In fact, I have a quake-proof hideaway not too far from here. You'll be much safer if you come with me. Yes, we want to be safe, they all said, rushing from the doorway of the big red barn and lining up behind Herman Urban, not knowing he was really a lying, conniving weasel, wily weasel. So he was lying. That's not good, is it? So off went Chucky Ducky, Lucy Goosey, Vicky Nicky, Ricky Chicky, Rooster, Sue Hugh with her 2 lambs, Pam and Sam, Nanny Goat, Billy the Kid, Merle Squirrel, and Iggy Piggy, into the deep, dark, thickest thickets of the wood the group hiked. After a ways, in a little while, the weasel stopped. He pointed. Down there, he said, with a sneer, Vicky Nicky and Ricky Chicky took a peek. But that just looks like a hole, Chief the Chips. A deep, dark hole, noticed Nanny. And it looks like such a long way down, said Sam and Pam. Come now, don't be sheepish. There's a big hole there, too. Don't fall into it. He was just about to give Chucky Ducky the first shove down the hole when suddenly there was a groan. And then there was a rumble. And the ground around the weasel started to crumble. First a trip, then a stumble, right through the thicket, out of his white winter coat. Uh-oh. I think I made a fumble. Well, what? A weaselly little fellow crowds Rooster, waving the white winter coat. Thank goodness we're safe. It is. It's the big chicken, and what did he do? He took the white coat off of the weasel. Uh-oh. Yes, it's still a quake, it's still a quake, it's still a quake, it's not a quake, said 2 heads, suddenly poking up from the dirt. It's not a quake, they all said. It's just us, the 2 answered with a wink and a blink. We're Joel and Mole. You mean the earth isn't crumbling, squawked Lucy Goosey, Rooster, and the 3 little chickies? You mean the earth isn't crumbling, cried out Nanny, Billy, Pam, Sue, Sam, and Sue? No quake? Quacked Chucky Ducky. We don't know anything about grumbles, rumbles, trumbles, or quakes. No, that's Joel and Mole. And Chucky Ducky. Just in case you didn't know. We don't know anything about the grumbles and rumbles and crumbles or quakes. We're just looking for our cousin, Garrett Farrell. Does anybody know the way to San Jose? Somehow or other, I think we got lost around the Lincoln Tunnel. Wrong turn indeed. So they all showed Joel and Mole which way to go, and out of the woods and back to the barnyard went Iggy Piggy, Merle Squirrel, Nanny Goat, Billy the Kid, Sue Hugh and her lamb, Sam and Pam, Rooster, Vicky, Nicky, and Ricky Chicky, Lucy Goosey, and that little quack, Chucky Ducky, who right from the beginning was all wet. Now, let me ask you, Critter and Andrew. Andrew, got a question for you. Around here, watch me. Eyes on me. That's what my granddaughter Allison says. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. And she's like 3. So, is there anything that we can learn from this story? Let me ask you a question. Just because one of your friends says that something bad is happening, doesn't mean that it is. If one of your friends tells you that another friend said something bad about you, what should you do? Don't believe it, don't hear it. You should go, what should you do? You should go to that, yes, dude. That's what ducks do, isn't it? They do. If you went swimming in a pool, would you see a duck? Yeah? Are there ducks in your pond? Okay. Okay, but was Chucky Ducky there? No. Now, if your friend came to you and said that another friend was being bad, what should you do? You should go to your other friend and ask them, did they actually say that or not? Instead of just blaming them, you want to go find out the truth. You don't believe it just because somebody else says it. Let me ask you this. If somebody's... Yeah, it is. It is. How did it get up there? I don't know. Let me ask you this. If somebody comes to you and says this to you, your mom or your dad said that you're supposed to come with me. This is a stranger. You don't know this person, but they stop in their car and they say, your mom and dad told me to come and pick you up. You're supposed to go with me. They couldn't make it today, and I'm supposed to bring you to them. What are you supposed to do? You don't ever get in a car with somebody you don't know, do you? And what if somebody says, I have this, I know you could use some, you like candy, don't you? I got some candy here that you can have. It's really good stuff, and it's good for you. And you don't know this person? What should you do? And then what should you do? Once you say no, what should you do? Tell an adult, a parent, or a teacher, or a policeman, or somebody that's in authority, you want to go tell them, right? Never take anything from somebody you don't know. Don't believe somebody just because they tell you. And also, if somebody tells you something and you're not sure about it, don't run and tell everybody else that it's true, because it might not be true. You want to go straight to the person who told you that and find out if it's true. Is that right? Here's another thing. Things aren't always as bad as they seem. Sometimes we think we're in an earthquake and the world's falling apart, but it might not be an earthquake at all, right? Sometimes you think that just because your mom took your device away, that the whole world is falling apart, right? Or your mom and dad say, nope, you beat your brother over the head, you can't go in the pool. And you're like, oh man. Do not think the world is coming apart. It could be that somebody is just making a tunnel under your feet. That's not really an earthquake at all. Right? So, do you like Earthquack? It's a pretty good story, I thought. So now I want you to tell it back to me word for word. Okay, go sit with your parents. Now, adults, you know that I didn't just tell this story so the kids could have, so you could have 12, 15 minutes of your own personal time about the kids, right? So, a couple of things I want to point out to you, then the lesson will be yours. I want to read this to you from the Huffington Post. How many of you every day turn to the Huffington Post and read, evidently just He found his way home. Here's from HuffPuff. Or Huffington Post is one of my favorite news radio guys says. 500 years ago, Michel de Montaigne said, "My life has been filled with terrible misfortune, most of which never happened." Now, there's a study that proves it. This study looked into how many of our imagined calamities never materialized. In this study, subjects were asked to write down their worries over an extended period of time and then identify which of their imagined misfortunes did not actually happen. Here's what they found out. 85% of what the subject worried about never happened. And with the 15% that did happen, 79% of the people said that either the difficulty wasn't as bad as they thought it would be, or the thing that happened made them stronger or made them better. So in reality, only 97% of what you worry about is not more than a fearful mind punishing you with exaggerations and misconceptions. That's from the Huffington Post. Here's another one. And this came from a book called The Essence of Success by Earl Nightingale. According to the Bureau of Standards, a dense fog 7 city blocks square to the depth of 100 feet. Okay, let me paint this picture for you. 7 city blocks, 100 feet tall, is a dense fog. You can't see from one side of the street to the other. If you took all of that and condensed it down, you would have less than 1 glass of water. It wouldn't even fill it. And this could be compared to our worries. If we could see into the future, and if we could see our problems in their true light, they wouldn't tend to blind us to the world, to living itself, but instead could be relegated to their true size and place. And if all the things most people worry about were reduced to their true size, you could probably put them all into a drinking glass, too. So what's the point? Jesus says, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you're wearing. It's not life more than clothing, more than food, body more than clothes. Look at the birds of the air. They don't sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? Correct. So worry really doesn't help us, right? And just running about like a chicken with your, well, like Chucky Ducky, going from place to place to place to place, saying, you know, there's an earthquake, and we do that. And if you're on Facebook, there's an earthquake on every page. Everybody's got an earthquake. I've never seen more drama. Unless it's in the workplace at a certain bank that I know of. Drama. Some people cannot get up in the morning unless they start some drama, hear some drama, pass some drama on, right? And that leads me to this. Let me read to you from Proverbs 26. This is kind of interesting because I don't know how this works, but verse 17 says this. Like one who grabs a stray dog by the ears is someone who rushes into a quarrel, not their own. Like somebody that grabs a stray dog by the ears is somebody that rushes into a quarrel that they got no business being in the middle of. He says, like a maniac shooting flaming arrows of death is the one who deceives their neighbor and says, I was only joking. Stirring something up, starting something just to get something started. I love this. Without wood, a fire goes out. Without gossip, a quarrel dies dead. Without wood, a fire goes out. And unless you gossip stuff, this quarrel's going to just die out. But we keep stoking it, don't we? We keep putting fuel on the fire. We keep stoking that fire more wood. He says, let it die out. As charcoal to embers, as wood to fire, so is quarrelsome person for kindling fire. Words of gossip are like choice morsels that go down to the inmost part. And the third thing that I'd like for us just to kind of remember is to remind you what we said last week, which is Satan is at war with us. The forces of evil are at war with us. And if we could pull back the curtain, as we said last week, we would see all of the forces that are aligned against us. Peter says in 2 Peter chapter 2, these people are springs without water and mist driven by a storm. Blackest darkness is reserved for them. For they mouth empty, boastful words, and by appealing to the lustful desires of the flesh, they entice people who are just escaping from those who live in error. They promise them freedom while they themselves are slaves of depravity. For people are slaves to whatever has mastered them. And if they escape the corruption of the world by knowing our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and are again entangled in it and overcome, they're worse off at the end than they were at the beginning. It would have been better for them never to have known the way of righteousness than to have known it and then turn their backs on the sacred command that was passed on to them. Why did I choose this path? All of us have friends, loved ones, family members that like to just drag us into their world of drama, don't we? Anybody escaped that recently? And what Peter says is, here's the problem. When you have young Christians, when you have people that are new to the faith, when you have people that have just kind of gotten to know Jesus and they've just kind of gotten on fire a little bit about coming to church and bringing their kids to church and getting involved in a program or something like that, and then they get down in this drama, or even worse, someone who professes to be a Christian doesn't act like it. And the next thing you know, these young people, these folks who are new in the faith, these babes in Christ, they get disillusioned. They get discouraged. And they say, if that's what Christianity is about, I don't want any part of it. If that's the way people in the church act, then I don't want any of that. Only hypocrites go to church. Right? Everybody hear that? Will it be just a clue, right? Not going to church because there's hypocrites in church. It's like, I'm not going to go to the Y because there's fat people there. Doesn't make any sense, does it? We're all hypocrites. That's why Jesus had to die for us. None of us are righteous. No, not one. And when we start thinking we are, guess what? The Holy Spirit is going to tweak us. He's going to tap us on the shoulder. He's going to say, Or God's going to get a hold of us. Get our attention. Because He loves us. Doesn't want us to be lost. Doesn't want us to lose our faith. And for those of us who are longtime members of the church, how about we act like it in public? And not give people an excuse to berate the church. Or to berate Jesus, our Savior. And let's be really clear. Satan is a weasel. Satan is a hungry weasel. Satan is a deceitful, lying, wily weasel who wants to do nothing else than to devour us, push us into the hole, and have us for dinner. Each one of us. And we need to be aware of that. And we need to be on guard about that. And it runs in my mind as I read this passage from chapter 2 of 2 Peter, that maybe there's somebody here who had this idea, who had this great feeling, this great anticipation of what Christianity was going to be about, and really got involved in church and really started to integrate into a class or into a program. And then, jobs got in the way, families got in the way, vacations got in the way, sports got in the way, anything you can talk about, and then we just kind of lose our enthusiasm. We kind of lose our connection. We kind of lose the thrill that we had when we first started being involved with Jesus, a child of God. Maybe you're in that place now. Maybe you've come here today, and the Holy Spirit brought you here today because you need to rekindle that fire. You need to rededicate yourself to Christ. I don't know what your need is. I don't know why the Holy Spirit wrestled you out of bed today. But if He brought you here so that you can meet with Christ again, or if He brought you here because you've never met with Christ, you've never known the joy of being a child of God, I'm going to ask you if you would consider giving your life to Him today. We're going to come and sing a song that you all know, and we're going to sing 2 verses of it, the second verse of which talks about the saving power of the cross of Christ. So if you have a need that we can help you with, please let us know as we begin to sing this song. Would you stand up, please?